help us understand, because we want to dispel any kind of panic. The idea is not to target, the authorities or the central government, but there are questions at this point in time that nobody has answers to. Railway preparedness, that is the ballpark, that is the main focus that everybody is talking about right now. Given the predictable surge in passengers, 144 years, a special Maha Kumbh, we're looking at such huge crowds going through various railway stations. Several of these, special trains are constantly running. Should the railways have anticipated something like this is going to happen? Reports tell us 1,500 tickets were being sold every hour. Mr. Arunendra Kumar, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm with you. Yes, you're able to hear me?
Yes, yes. That question was for you, sir. Please.
Railway is not new to crowd control, and we have been running specials after specials. On this very particular moment, what actually happened is that two specials were planned for Maha Kumbh Prayagraj, and they were about to become coming there, but the crowd managed to come, and they just could not move out because there were two other trains which were getting delayed, and there was crowd for that also. And the crowd was there on the pedestrian bridge. So the problem happened at the bridge wanting to go down, and it is not on the platform but on the escalator or on the staircase where things went out of control. And when people become in a frenzy, then when you see a train, they just don't know which is a Prayag train for special, it is a Swantratantra Senani Express or some other train. They just say there is a train, and they just rush to that, take that kind of jump. Now, when there you can't go in and you can't go get out, so the frenzy, somebody falls and then it becomes uncontrollable. Railway stations are not designed like airports where you just can't, you just control the entry and then they block the everything. It is not possible. And these, you see the railway's responsibility. After the departure of two special trains, the crowd was still there, and they immediately organized two more specials, and they were cleared the crowd by 2 o'clock in the night itself for Prayagraj. So in 4 special trains ran that moment after normal running of trains. So we were prepared. The point is that if there is a kind of one jumping over the other, and which I have I express my condolences to bereaved family, it's an unfortunate event, should not have happened at all. But if you start in a crowd, somebody becomes berserk, then it is very difficult. You can't post policemen inside the crowd. And then the problem comes, and then disaster strikes.
Okay, okay. Mr. Kumar, do stay on with us. Dr. Singh, I'm going to come to you next. Crowd management at stations. Don't you think it was a major issue this time around? I mean, lack of personnel on the station. Some of those visuals we can't even broadcast because we need to maintain on-air hygiene. But people gasping for breath, no medical, emergency personnel on the platforms, clear public apathy.
Mr. Kabir, I would say there's always a best way of doing everything. We can always condone these lapses and say that we did not expect these overwhelming numbers. Nobody expects anything, but you're supposed to be fully prepared and geared for a worst-case scenario. And if you're not, well, I must say I'm sorry that you're not equal to the task. This excuse, you can wash your hands on the case that we did not expect these numbers. To be forewarned is to be forearmed. You should always be prepared for a contingency plan. There should have been a backup for a backup for a backup. And if there wasn't, and there was no presence of GRP, RPF and other personnel who were supposed to regulate the crowds, manage them, stagger them, segregate them, I would say that we were quoting the recipe of disaster. And to say inquiry has been ordered and we'll take action, this again gives the impression that we're not serious about uncovering the unpalatable truth. The fact is that there's something known as prima facie facts. And on the basis of prima facie facts and evidence, action should have been taken by now. And if not taken, I would say that there is an attempt to dilute the issues. All these things were on expected lines. And not to cater to a worst-case scenario and be prepared for a worst case, I think would not be appropriate.
All right. You know what, Dr. Singh, very pertinent points that you've raised over here. Mr. Kumar, again, picking up from where Dr. Singh has left us exactly, just to trivialize this, saying that, a frenzy event here and there can trigger something like this. I mean, the Indian Railways boasts of saying, we're in the business for so long. We're one of the largest railway networks across the world. We have such a huge history of bringing people closer, and quite literally. And there's a little bit of irony and sarcasm there as well, talking about the crowd that we see inside, train bogies. But to say that there was no problem here at play, to say that there is no learning curve here would be a little bit wrong in my limited opinion. When you looked at these visuals, when you probably read the news, when it broke out, what went through your own mind? I mean, couldn't we have saved some of these precious lives?
Yeah, when you are wiser after the event always. That is very clear. And it's not that we don't have a backup plan. We have a backup plan and we have another backup plan always. But when it happens that you have an uncontrolled entry to a station, while we have not taken a step that we block entries to the platforms, that would have been another major step, and that can be done. There's no doubt about it. But if at a particular moment situation comes in such a fashion that somebody tramples over someone else, it's not that the people were falling on the tracks or the train started without signals or there was a glitch in the train. There was no such thing. No operations problem. The point is that on the bridge, when people wanted to go down to board the train, there was no possibility and somebody tramples. Now what do? Whatever backup plan, there's no backup plan if you start trampling over somebody else. So now the question is, what do you do in such situations? You have to clear the crowd, and that crowd clearance can only happen by a train. And one train will at least take 30 minutes, 35 minutes or 40 minutes to board and move. That is what was done, and that is how the crowd was cleared subsequently. I'm not trying to protect anyone or to defend anyone, but you must imagine what is happening at the site.
All right, sir, my apologies for intervening here. One more aspect that we need, some clarity on, which is the 1,500 general tickets that were being issued every hour. That would have exacerbated the situation, don't you think? I mean, for somebody who doesn't understand how the ticketing and the ratio and how one manages, how many commuters are there on a platform, what kind of train comes in, 1,500 tickets every hour and a stampede sort of a situation. I mean, help the viewers understand, is that a normal situation or are we looking at abnormal quantities of tickets being sold?
1,500 is a very high number. There's no two opinion on that part. But it was expected because there were two special trains which were unreserved at that point. And if you have unreserved train, 24 coaches, one coach can take, when it is a general service coach, make it about 100 to 150 passengers. So that much crowd is expected to be cleared per train. So that 24 coaches would have expected at least 3,000 people to have moved out. Which, if there are two trains planned, that's 6,000 people were planned to be moved out by those two trains. Now, if those 6,000 people are permitted entry, either we block them at the gate that your train, you can only enter 1.5 hours or 1 hour before the train arrival or 2 hours before the train arrival, then it is fine. Then you have to have a hold-up area, which is not there, and which was not planned. Either we do that, which has been done at Prayagraj, that there is a hold-up area. At other places, we have not done that way, that there will be hold up. So these two trains, people would like to come. They said that the station is the best place to wait for the train to come, because train will come, we'll get into it. But that time could not come. So one has to appreciate that other railways can do that and block the entry and say, oh, you will get access if you come so much hours before. We could not do that, and we are not planned that way, at least at New Delhi. At Kumbh, at Prayagraj, it is there that you can't get into a platform unless you're trained for tomorrow. You can't go today, or not like that.
Lack of personnel on the platform, sir. Do you think that is also a factor that needs to be looked at?
Okay, lack of personnel at platform. There has to be there could be personnel, because it is impossible for such a crowd to be managed without personnel at the platform. Now the question arises, which we have seen the visuals, is that people want to see a person when there is a problem. Now, it's such a big crowd, you won't be able to see a person because the people are dominated at a particular place. At 20 meters, 40 meters, or 50 meters, there are two people there. So the people are there. That's how the management happened subsequently. People were not airdropped that they had came from somewhere else. They were there, but when things went out, then they became much more hyperactive, which should not have happened. Let us first prepare. I'm not trying to say that anything went, everything.
No, we understand. We understand, sir. We understand.